Okay, in this video I'm going to take a brief look at two venerable old Linux commands. One is the tar command or tape archive command, and the other is split. And we're going to pipe them together or combine them to split up files into much smaller chunks. This can be quite useful even today, actually, when you're in a situation, say, for example, if you've got a very large database file that needs to be uploaded to a server where there's an upload limit. So, you can split the file up into smaller chunks and then recombine them on the server. So we'll move on to that in a second. I'll show you how it's done. It's all quite straightforward and very self-explanatory, hopefully. Okay, so here we are on the desktop of Lovely Antics. So let's get into the terminal. So I'm just going to navigate to a folder called X, which we can work in. And this has just one file in it, which is a JPEG. Let's just see how big it is. So it's a 5 megabyte JPEG. That's actually quite big for a JPEG. And if you're curious to know what it is, I'll just show you, because we might need that for reference a bit later. So if we go into X, you can see it's a rather striking picture of a very florid rhododendron that I once saw down in Chelford, so near where I live. So we've got a 5 megabyte JPEG there, which we're going to split into 1 megabyte chunks. So, but before I do that, there's one other thing that we need to do in order to validate the integrity of the file once we put it all back together or reconstitute it or concatenate it. So it'd be a good idea to have a checksum of that file. As there's only one file here, we can use the wildcard or the asterisk for that. So that there is the checksum, MD5 checksum. So when we put the file together, we'll run the MD5 sum on it again and make sure that the number that's generated, or the checksum that's generated, matches this, and then we'll know that we've got a perfectly reconstituted file, if you see what I mean. But I'm just going to feed that into pump it into a text file, which we'll call sum. So we do that like this. And if we list, we can see we've got now got the sum txt in the directory. We can cat that to read it. And there it is. Okay. Right. So the first thing we're going to do is type in the command to split the JPEG into 1 megabyte chunks. I'll explain all the individual parts of this once I've typed it in. And we're going to pipe that into split, and we're going to break it down into 1 megabyte chunks. It could be any size, it could be 1 kilobyte chunks, but we'd end up with loads of them then if we did it that way. And then we're going to use RO underscore as a prefix for the individual output files. Okay. So I've already explained what most of this does, but the tar command is simply just it's the old tape archive command, as I said at the beginning, which is used for bundling files and directories together, and also creating a what's known as a tar stream, which in this case is fed into what's also known as standard output, or std out in Linux. The C is basically just saying, is the create new archive. And this is obviously the file that's being added to the archive or turned into a tar stream. The pipe is simply just feeding the output of this command, or the standard output, to the standard input of the split command. The B is the break or the breakdown switch, which is going to convert that tar stream into 1 megabyte chunks. And this hyphen here, it basically tells split to read from standard input or the tar output being piped in. So on this side it's standard input, on that side it's standard output. And as I said before, RO underscore is simply just a prefix for the chunks that it's going to create now. When I hit return, it's almost instantaneous, and it was instantaneous. So now for list, we can see we've got all these new files here. These are the individual chunks of the JPEG, and if we have a look at those, we can see that we've got 4 1 megabyte chunks and one of 994 kilobytes. Okay, so we're back in the terminal. Now this time we're going to recombine all of these chunks into the JPEG file. Before I do that though, I'm just going to remove the original JPEG file now as well. So rmjpg, and there, so that's gone. So now the original JPEG file is gone. So now we're down to reconstituting it from these chunks. It's very simple. So to do that, we just type in the following command, ro_wildcard, and we pipe that to the tar command with the X switch. So basically, all this is doing is concatenates these split chunks back into a single tar stream, and then that's piped into, and this is obviously the name of the chunks that are going to be concatenated. The pipe then pipes that into the tar stream, into the tar command I should say, and the X extracts the archive contents into the current directory. So hopefully that's all going to work correctly when we hit enter. And it has. So look, the file has come back. So now let's just run an MD5 checksum on it. And there it is. That looks kind of similar to what we had before, but just to double check, we can append that to the sum.txt file that we created earlier. So we just do that simply by using a double angle bracket, sum.txt. Now if we cat into sum.txt, we should be able to see those two checksums matching. And they do, both exactly the same. So what that's telling us, or confirming for us, is that the JPEG file that we've reconstituted here is exactly the same as what we had before. And I find that quite amazing, that you can break down files like this and reconstitute them without any changes to the content of the file. It's not being compressed in any way or anything. And the only way you would be able to get that file onto the server would be by breaking it down into chunks like this and then uploading the individual chunks and then recombining them on the server. However, that would only be a possibility if you had SSH access to the server and you could actually run these commands on the server. So if you've found this useful at all, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye for now.